Yo, this is gonna be an updated video because a lot of people was asking me, about some information, and I don't really feel like responding to 100 individual people, so I'd rather just put out a video with everything rather than some. So this is an updated video with how to swipe and how to use EMV software, how to do all that shit, step by step. So before you get, into every step, you need to get three things. An Omni key. This is to read the chip of the card, how to write on it. You can't use the software for writing on a chip without being able to read the chip. That's what an Omni key does. An MSR is how you write on the mag strip. This is what you're going to be swiping the card through, in your computer. It just plugs in. This is one I got, 83 bucks. There's a Bluetooth one for 160. If you're feeling bougie, you can go with that. I got this one and it works, so that's that. And then the blank cards themselves. Do not get anything that is not J2A040s. If you get SLEs just because they're cheaper, you're going to regret it because they simply will not work. Get these, get like a 5-pack, more bang for your buck, you'll be straight. So, once you got all your hardware, you're going to need the software. The only really the main 5 things you need is, or the 6 things rather, is all this. So MSRX, how to write on the mag strip, ATR tool to tell the ATM what bank your card is with, Jacob English to further format the chip, Card Peek to check your progress as you go, ArcGen to write on the chip, and then X2 to load the IST. All this, that's basically it. But if you don't want to go to an ATM and see it declined and you want to do further verification, I toss in these softwares. I'm gonna do like a video on just these, probably after this one or another day, but this is just for the EMV software. So first software is MSRX. This is free when you buy an MSRX, but getting like actually installing it is kind of funky, so I toss it in with my swipe pack anyway. But once you open this shit and if it says device offline, you just gotta make sure you have HID and then you'll be straight. If you go to COM1, it's gonna be cannot find the device. So do that. First, let's read the card so I can verify there's nothing on this. I haven't used this card before, so boom, y'all hear it, nothing on there. First thing you're gonna want to do is look at your dump. This is what you're gonna need before doing all this shit. You're gonna need 2 things. You need the dump with a specific bin number 411773, and you need an IST file for that dump. I'll get into the IST file later, but you need to get a dump with a pin. Sometimes you get it's just the track 2, and that's fine. You can put in a track 1 generator and then it generates the track 1 for you, but normally track 2 pin bank type, this is what it looks like. If you don't normally get all this shit, then you're probably getting scammed. But take your track 2, make sure you see that right there, that space that can fuck up your whole process. Make sure you just copy the numbers. Track 2, boom. Track 1, boom. Then we're gonna go to right, take your card, make sure you're swiping it the right way, boom. Swipe it at least 3 times, make sure you're straight. And then you're gonna go to read, boom. Shit's on there, we see it, it wrote. You're done with MSRX. Next, you're gonna need ATR tool. This is what you're gonna be telling, this is what's gonna tell the ATM what bank your card is with. Our dump is from Bank of America. So you're gonna plug your card into your Omni key now. So it's gonna be reading the chip and writing on the chip. Once you hear that, you're good. And then reader, you're using Omni key. Java card, if you cop the SLEs, you'd be fucked right now because you gotta pick J2A040s because that's what you're using. And then look for your bank. This is just a long ass list with hella banks. So we're using Bank of America. Should be right here. And then set ATR. Boom. Done. Now we're gonna head into JCOP. We're gonna hop into JCOP. We're gonna take our track 2. We're gonna copy it. We're gonna go right here. Paste. Then you're gonna format the chip. If you don't see any coding, what you have to do is keep clicking it until you see coding. Keep clicking. Keep clicking. Sometimes it's gonna do that if you press it while your Omni key is blinking, it gives you that message. So press. No coding. Wait for it to stop blinking. Boom. You seen that? Press it again. Let's just double check. Format. format. Boom. Done. Once you see that shit, you're straight. Then you're gonna wait for your OmniKey to turn off. Right now it's solid blue after it blinked. Boom. JCOP chip formatted with success. You're gonna wait. Once your OmniKey turns off, then you're gonna press save check. Give it a second. Now my OmniKey is gonna start blinking, and then it's gonna turn steady blue after a couple seconds, and then it's gonna turn off. Once it turns off, you're good to close this. But right now I'm waiting. After this, we're gonna head into CardPeek and check our work, see if what we're doing is all straight. Alright, turned off. We are good. Now, open up CardPeek using an OmniKey. And then Analyzer, when you press EMV, when you're just reading a card, it's going to read it like normal, you know, because there's no special coding. When you're doing this work and you're using like a Visa debit or like a MasterCard, it should give you like a line of code that is telling you like, hey, this is from Visa or something like that. You feel me? That's what this is going to look like. Boom. Issue a get processing option command to a Visa credit application. Yes. Now it's going to keep reading. CardPeek only reads like 800 lines of information before giving you like an error, like, hey, do I gotta keep reading? So make sure every time it gets like 100, it's gonna say something. Just press continue reading. It's just gonna keep reading, and you'll be good. The longer. So if you're like at step 7 or step 6, there's gonna be more information on the card. So this process is gonna be a lot longer. So when we're at step 7 checking, when we're done with everything, it's going to read a lot more information than we're reading now. But we're just reading this now to see if we fucked up or not. See if we're good. It's pretty easy to read. If you see anything with Java or some shit like that, you know you fucked up. If you see a word called Visa, you know you good. So read this shit. Alright. Getting Visa information. As long as there's no Java, then we're good. We don't got to look at this shit right now, at least. We're going to check CardPeek later, so... CardPeek's good for now. It's no Java information, just the Visas over there. So we're straight. Now we're going to get into X2. When you buy the swipe pack from me or you already have X2, you should know this. Don't put it on your desktop. Either keep it in the folder or in your taskbar or it will not open. It has to be with the drivers. So open X2, EMV. Now we're going to go over to our dump. You're going to take your track 2. Not the space like that. Shit fucks you up for real. Trust. Just the numbers. We're going to check this box. Application label. We have a Visa debit card. If you had a MasterCard credit, you'd type in all caps MasterCard credit. We're using a Visa debit, so we're going to type in Visa debit. And then we're going to check this box right here. Credit, we're using a Visa. Writer, we're using an OmniKey. And then change date. This is going to be the expiration date of the card you're using. So I already have the format of this expiration date. It's going to be the year first, then the month. So year 26, February, and then how many days are in that month. You cannot forget this. Always check your Apple Calendar and check year 26. You got to like take leap years in account and all that shit and just check. I know that February in year 26 only has 28 days, so I'm going to take that, put it right here, and then boom. Then you're going to go to AID. When you're using a Visa, it's going to be 3, 10, 10. If you're using a MasterCard, it's going to be 4, 10, 10. Country code is going to be 0840 if you're in the US. It's actually 840, but you have to put a 0 in front of it when you're using software like this with coding and numbers and ATMs and shit. So 0840. Currency is the same, 0840. And then PIN. Check your dump. We got 3622. 3622. And then double check. Never generate your ARC codes through here. X2 just doesn't work well for that. ArcGen is much better. So just don't use this. Then once all this is filled out, double check. Credit. Your OmniKey is going to start blinking and it's going to say success, I believe. There we go. Completed job. And then we're going to go to IST load. An IST, actually first we're going to go to IST generate just so I can explain. An IST is coding on a card that you can only get from the physical card itself. So if I had a debit card that was myself, like my own debit card, right? And I put that in, I could generate an IST from it. When you're using dumps, you need an IST vault. In my swipe pack, I have a huge IST vault with hella ISTs of different cards. So normally, it's not hard for you to buy a dump. Just use one of these bin numbers for 6 digits that you already have. But yeah, you need an IST file for the dump you're using. 411773. I know I have that bin number because, I'm not going to buy a dump or use a dump for a bin number I don't have. It will not work. So you're going to open 411773, Bank of America Visa Debit. And then track 2, you're going to fill up all this information, but you already did. So you can go back here, copy, paste, check that. Application label, Visa Debit. You can check that, and then go over here, copy your track 1, paste, and then country code is 0840. Currency is 0840. And then here's where we're going to generate our ARC codes. We're going to go to ArcGen, and then we're going to fill out this information. Our PAN number, this is the card number. You find that with the first 16 digits of your track 2. Copy, paste, and then we're going to fill out this information. So country code is going to be at the bottom, I believe. USA 0840. Currency code is at the top. USD 0840. Date. Now this is where a lot of people slip up, and this is why they say swiping 50-50 and shit like that. You need to put the date that you're gonna use the card. If I was gonna close this card and hit the ATM today, this is why everybody that sells clones on Discords and shit like that is fake. You need to put the code onto the card for the day you're gonna hit it. If you buy a clone on Discord and the guy ships it to you in 4 days, let's say he did actually ship you a card, by the time you get the card, it's gonna be for a day. That doesn't work. If you want to buy a clone card, you need to get somebody that will actually code it for a day that you'd have that card in your hand. So for me, if I was gonna hit this card tomorrow, I'm gonna put year first, so 22, and then month 02, and then date 10. Then you're going to go down here, check everything out. Are you good? Then you're going to press generate ARC. Here we're going to get our first one. Copy that, go to X2, and then paste. And then you're going to go right down here to ATC. You're going to take that 1 and turn it into a 2. Press generate. Here's our second ARC code. Paste. Go back and get your third. And then boom. If you ever mess up or something, you have to go back. If you go down here to ATC and put in 2, it's gonna bring you up to the same ARC code because it's the same date. If I put in a different date, it's gonna be a different code. So 6729 6729. All right, everything looks good here. Our IST's there. We're gonna press burn. Our Omni key is gonna start blinking. Give it a minute. Boom. Now we can close all this out. Now, we're going to check CardPeek one more time. This is just final check to see if you're good, you did everything right. This is going to be the longest scan because this is the last step. So this is the part where it has the most information on it before you actually inserting into the ATM. So you're going to stay here and read this shit while it's reading. I'm going to answer these questions. So how do I get valid dumps and what are they? A dump can only be acquired from actual card information. So ask yourself, how does somebody have access to a dump? If somebody has like 4 ATMs that they own and they skim like with their own card skimmers, they're just stealing people's informations, then yes, that's valid dumps. Now some kid that has 30 members in his Discord server that is DMing you first, asking you to buy his dumps, that's probably not real. Why would that kid have dumps? You feel me? So ask yourself. For me, I don't actually skim my own dumps. I buy them from somebody. So if somebody wants to buy a dump through me, I'm all for that, but I'm gonna tax you. Just, because I'm trying to make money, right? But most of these kids out here don't have dumps. That's why people say that swiping is 50-50. You gotta just get people that are valid and make sure you have the IST file for those proper dumps. If you put that info in there and you go hit the ATM and you get like no account balance, declined, whatever, you fucked up. You got a burnt dump. It is what it is. Just find the right people. Dark websites are really unreliable. I've gotten like good CCs from there, but I don't know. It's just hard to find good dumps. Just look around and be safe, and you'll be straight with that. How do I not get scammed when looking for dumps/software? The best way to not get scammed is to buy in separate packs the most you can. So buy MSRX, ATR Tool, JCOP English in 3 separate packs, each for $25, rather than the whole pack for $75. You know what I mean? Just try to not send people a lot of money, because if you did send a scammer $80 for this whole pack and he gypped you, then boom, now you don't have $80 and you don't have software. If he gypped you for the MSRX for $20, then hey, that kind of sucks. You fucked up. You learned a lesson, and it only cost $20. So that's the best way I recommend not getting scammed is just valid people and doing that. How do I stay safe when I swipe? I recommend at least having a VPN that costs money. So like NordVPN, $50 a year. I recommend that shit. Or Express, not using no free VPN. If you look up 911.re, it's you can get SOCKS 5. Really easy to install. It costs $20 through Bitcoin. It'll keep you safe. It just hides your location on the internet. You'll be straight. Now we can check. It's all done. Go through here, but you're gonna want to look for one thing right here. Valid for domestic cash transactions, valid at ATMs, valid for international goods. That's what you want to see. It's, once you see CVM and fucking Visa debit, all that shit. Once you know that this is a Visa card, by inserting it into your OmniKey, this is what a ATM is gonna read. You don't know what none of this shit means, but once you put it into a ATM, it's gonna read all this shit. And then once it gets to this code, it's like boom, you're green. You see it, you're valid. But yeah, that's gonna be the whole process. That's step 1 to 8 on how to cash out. All you gotta do now is go to a 7-Eleven and just fucking like steal $500 from them, for real. But yeah, another thing is, if you do want to not get scammed, if you do want to buy all this shit from somebody that is valid, you could always buy it from me. Obviously, that's what a scammer would say. So you could join my Discord. There's gonna be a link in the bottom. Look at my vouchers. I'm not worried about people asking me to buy one at a time. That's all. I'm all for it, bro. Ask me, hey, can I buy your software pack one at a time? Or you can just check my shop and check on my prices and hit me up and ask any questions. But I do prefer people to come correct, money ready, because believe it or not, a lot of people have a lot of questions. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate y'all. Be safe out there. See ya.